and they watched the video and identified the person attacking and beating Shanquella Robinson. And that person was named as the aggressor by the Mexican authorities.
Authorities now are looking, and with regard to the arrest warrant for the extradition, that is to have the party or parties brought back to Mexico.
We know it can be done swiftly because we just saw the Mexican kidnapping case, which is different substantively from Shanquella's case, but it shows that U.S. law enforcement can quickly get on the same page with Mexican law enforcement in order to resolve a criminal.
She was a strong, brilliant black woman, the best that we had to offer the world. And that's why we're going to continue to fight for justice for Shanquella Robinson.
The Mexican authorities have issued an arrest warrant for one of Robinson's friends, and it's got Cabo 6 shook. But wait, it gets even juicier. The attorney for Robinson's family has revealed that the U.S. government is planning to take diplomatic action to move the case forward. And honestly, we're totally on board with that.
The issue now is that there has to be a high level of diplomatic intervention. And I say high level to be tongue-in-cheek because, to be honest, the highest level is right here. That's why we're here.
During a press conference held at Livingstone College in March, the Robinson family attorney, Benjamin Crump, revealed that he expects a meeting soon with White House officials and the head of the U.S. Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Additionally, the family is calling on the Biden administration to extradite the accused killer to Mexico.
Everybody being arrested and doing time in Mexico. Everybody extradited over there and doing their time there. That'll be justice for us as of now.
What's more, Crump also revealed that the American Bar Association and several national sororities and fraternities will be issuing letters calling for justice for Shanquella Robinson, leading up to the 200th day after her death. In addition to this, Robinson's family and attorneys also said it should not take nearly 5 months for justice to be delivered and an arrest to be made in her death. With the help of her lawyers, Shanquella's case is moving forward, albeit at a sluggish pace. Earlier on, Shanquella's attorneys, activists, and Robinson's family had gathered in Washington, D.C. to demand diplomatic intervention in her case. Attorneys, Crump and Sue Ann Robinson had called on officials to either extradite the person named on an arrest warrant issued by Mexican officials or to take over jurisdiction and prosecute that person in the U.S. The Department of State previously told The Observer it would not comment on extradition matters. The Department of State supports a thorough investigation into the circumstances of this incident and is closely monitoring local authorities' investigation. We refer you to the Mexican authorities for further questions regarding an investigation, the Department of State had said at the time. But what exactly happened to Shanquella? Initially, the Cabo 6, who are her acquaintances, told her family that she died from alcohol poisoning. But things took a dark turn when the autopsy report revealed that she actually died from a broken neck and spine. Recently, a copy of Robinson's death certificate was released, and it indicated that she passed away just 15 minutes after getting injured, and listed severe spinal cord injury and atlas luxation as the cause of death. Strangely enough, there was no mention of alcohol poisoning as a contributing factor on the certificate.
Shanquella Robinson died after suffering a broken neck and severe spinal cord injury in Cabo last month, according to her death certificate.
In the letter addressed to President Biden, Robinson's attorneys urged White House officials to find the Cabo 6 and charge them for Shanquella's demise. My clients recognize that the U.S. government has many priorities and responsibilities, but believe that intervening, in this case, would not only serve the interests of justice, but also send a clear message that transnational criminal activities will not be tolerated, the letter stated. In addition to this, the attorneys asked for help from the U.S. government in 2 specific ways. The United States can follow the extradition protocol and turn over the individual or individuals responsible for Shanquella's death to Mexican authorities. Alternatively, U.S. federal law enforcement agencies can request concurrent jurisdiction with Mexican law enforcement agencies, which would permit U.S. prosecutors to bring the case in the United States as the involved parties are U.S. citizens. The letter reads, the letter then proceeded to mention that a warrant had been issued to Dejani Jackson, who was one of the 6 people that Shanquella had traveled with. As a result of the investigation, a warrant was issued for Dejani Jackson by Mexican law enforcement, one of the 6 travel mates who fled to the United States after Shanquella was pronounced dead. Ms. Jackson was identified as the perpetrator of femicide against Shanquella Robinson, a homicide based on gender. The document read, "What's more, a detailed first-hand account has been submitted to Mexican authorities from the Villa concierge who acted as a translator for the group during their trip. The concierge told an investigator with the specialized unit for the investigation of miscellaneous crimes that Jackson was the main guest handling the trip arrangements. The concierge said the first night the group arrived, he noticed something was off. He said Robinson was the last person to join the group for dinner and that she seemed not to fit in with the others. The concierge said he greeted her, but she did not smile or say anything to him. She was indifferent, nothing to do with the atmosphere of celebration. She was out of place at the party, he told the investigator. The next day, which was October 29th, around 1:50 p.m., the concierge told investigators DJ Jackson texted him and asked if he was available and where the nearest medical service was. "I think my friend has alcohol poisoning and needs emergency service and someone to translate or speak Spanish for us," Jackson told him. The concierge offered to send a doctor who spoke English and who could determine if Robinson needed to go to the hospital. Jackson agreed to this and asked that the doctor be sent as soon as possible. Later, the concierge told investigators Jackson had texted him that Robinson would be taken to a hospital, saying Robinson was not in serious condition but required an IV and was practically unconscious. According to the concierge, the group was discussing whether or not they had insurance that could pay for the hospital visit. Around 2 p.m., the concierge called the doctor on call for the villa. Later, an administrator of the villa contacted the concierge to ask if he requested an ambulance because security was notified to let one in. The doctor tried giving Robinson an IV, and about an hour after the doctor arrived, Robinson began having convulsions. After this, the concierge received another call saying Robinson had died and he needed to get to the villa as soon as possible. When the concierge arrived, he noticed one of the guests was speaking with police, and after entering the house, he said the guests were sitting calmly around the bar and dinner table in the main room. He sought out Jackson to offer his condolences, and she told him that they had informed Robinson's mother about the incident and that it was so fast to lose her in an instant for having had too much alcohol. According to the concierge, Jackson proceeded to ask him if he could give her a hug. "She gave me a very indifferent hug, very cold. I saw a very sad guest, a skinny girl, and I saw that she was in pain," the concierge told the investigator. "I left that area and stayed outside the main entrance to give them space to mourn and grieve. Minutes later, I heard laughter," the concierge went on to recall. Hours later, Jackson texted the concierge about dinner and he arranged a ride for the group to San Jose. But he found out later the group went to the airport. Later, when the video was released of Jackson attacking Robinson, the concierge said he realized that Jackson had manipulated him in an effort to leave the country as soon as possible. What's more, the administrator of the villas told investigators in a separate interview that after seeing the viral video, he instantly knew that it was Jackson since he had met her previously. So far, Robinson's death is being investigated by American police as well, and if any crimes connected to the incident took place on American soil, the American authorities may try to press their own charges in connection with the case. During a press conference in December, though, Robinson's family expressed their desire to see the friends of their daughter arrested and sentenced to prison time in Mexico. Meanwhile, fans are demanding that the Cabo 6 be brought to justice immediately. They all need to be charged, and the girl that killed her needs to spend the rest of her sorry life in prison. One person commented, "I won't be happy until all 6 arrested. I don't care, this could have been avoided. If people stand around to watch a person be murdered, then all should be charged. This is inhuman and justice should prevail," another person added. DJ Jackson, for one, should be locked up for life, and the rest of those that was there watching the fight. Shanquella didn't deserve this. I pray that the mother and father gets justice from this case soon so they can get on with their lives. A third person added, "Anyway, buckle up because the scandal surrounding Shanquella's death is far from over. With new shocking details emerging, it's clear that this story is still developing. We'll be sure to keep you updated on all the latest insider intel and juicy updates as they come to light." That's it for this video. Make sure to stay tuned, guys.